All right, hey everybody. So today I'm going to show you something kind of cool. So a while back, Jest 22 was released. We're now on 23. It's blazing fast. But in Jest 22, there was a sweet new capability brought to Jest, and that is this custom runners. So we'll look at that a little bit. A couple examples of what custom runners are. But yeah, the idea is that you can, like Jest has been broken up into many packages, and one of the capabilities that Jest has is in running all of your tests. And that running experience is actually really awesome. Like, you have this watch mode, you can filter the files that you're running, and you can like run only the files that are relevant to the files that have been changed. Lots of those kinds of really cool things. And during the watch mode or when it's being run, it also can run things in parallel but throttle it so it's not too machine intensive. So there's a lot of work that Jest can do for you in the runner with this Jest worker package, in addition to other things. So anyway, I think that this is really awesome, and I've been working on something where I finally decided, hey, I could really use a Jest runner. So just to give you kind of an idea of what this custom runners feature can give you, I have a couple of the examples here. So there's this Jest runner ESLint, and so you can make Jest run your linting. And so like the reason you might do that is because it's faster, especially like on big code bases. It'll run linting across all of your files in parallel. You can have a watch mode, and so yeah, it's pretty spiffy. And then we've got Jest runner standard, of course. So this this works with autofix as well, I think, and so it'll automatically fix your stuff in watch mode, and so that's pretty nifty. And then there's TSLint version that'll do the same thing for TSLint. And then flow type, it'll check your flow type, I guess. I feel like there should be a TypeScript one too. I didn't check, but maybe TypeScript. If there's not, then somebody should build it. Because yeah, it'll be pretty fast, pretty neat. And then Prettier, so you can also have Jest run Prettier. I'm not sure why you'd use this, because Prettier is like very fast, and normally you just run it once and then forget about it, and then like it just is run in your editor or in a pre-commit script or something. But it's pretty cool. You can run Prettier with Jest. There's this striker thing that I don't know a whole lot about, but I guess it's like coverage something or other. I don't know, but it seems kind of neat. I feel like I've looked into this before and I just forgot what it is. But and then you can even run other testing frameworks with Jest. So I think that's kind of cool. So you can run Mocha, but have all of Jest's awesome features just by using Jest runner Mocha. And then yeah, it runs all of your Mocha tests just like as if it were using Jest. Pretty cool. Then there's also Jest runner Cypress. I don't think this one ever went anywhere, but there's this new one that'll run your Cypress tests. I'm not sure how fast this is, because I'm pretty sure every single test needs to spin up a new Cypress process, but maybe not. I don't know. Something to look into. And then we get really wild with Python. So you can actually run your Python tests with Jest. I don't even know. I just think that's the coolest thing. And you can do the same thing with Golang. Run your Golang tests with Jest, which I think is pretty rad. So here's a little demo of that. You got your Go tests here, and you have a package JSON with Jest, and yeah, and it'll run your Golang tests. I think that's just so rad. And so anyway, that brings me to what I've been working on. So yes, I've been working on a couple testing courses for Egghead, and last night I was working on this JS mocking fundamentals one, and yeah, the idea is that you have, well, here I'll show you the project here. So we have a no framework version, and we have the Jest framework version. So you can look at this and see how you would do something like this in using Jest, and then you go into the corresponding no framework version and you can see how that might be implemented. So you get a better idea of how things actually work. So for the no framework version, we don't have the test global, we don't have expect, we're using assert instead. And so to run these, you just run it with Node. And when I'm doing my screencast, I want to be able to make changes and have it run automatically. So I was thinking, oh, I'll just have it have nodemon script and I'll just run that. But I thought, and then I decided that maybe I'd just write like my own little one-off script that does glob and runs them all and stuff, because I want to have, I'm not sure, maybe I'll want to have some CI, and so I had my test thing be like node run all things.js and then run Jest. But I thought, hey, you know what? There's this create Jest, let's see, create Jest runner package. It's nothing like create React app. It's not like a bootstrapping thing that gives you a project or whatever, but it's an actual package that you use. So this is just a abstraction that lets you easily create custom Jest runners. So I thought, hey, I'll use that and see if I can maybe make these no framework files run with Jest. And so they're not actually running with the testing framework, but they can run the these no framework files just with Node, just using the Jest runner. And so then I can have a really nice watch mode. So this is how, well, here, let me show you how it looks, and then I can show you how it works. So here, if I run Jest, or here you'd run Jest, npx Jest watch. That'll start everything in watch mode. I'll run all the tests, and so I have my no framework configuration, and then I have my Jest configuration. And so then I can press, I'm in watch mode in both of these. I can press P to run the no framework ones. This is part of their file name is no framework. And yeah, and then it just runs those. And it's like I have all the watch mode niceties. Now, as far as like when there's a failure, it doesn't look quite as nice as Jest failures, because like I don't have the Jest testing framework. I don't have expect and the way that it formats messages and stuff. But I mean, I do get the fact that there's a failure and I see what the error is and stuff. So that's pretty cool, and I can filter down to that. And here we'll do no framework dot star. Oops, star. Journal. There we go. And so I can get that that experience, which I think is pretty rad. So how does this work? Let us see. I'm gonna just close that out, and yeah. So here, if we go into our Jest config here, what we're doing is we're using the projects feature. And so it's just running both of our configurations. And then in the other directory, we have the regular configuration for Jest. We're just saying, hey, our files are in the source directory, and the root of our project is not where this configuration is, which is normally you just put this at the root, but because it's not, I have to specify where it is. So that's the boring one. Here's the interesting one. So our no framework config is doing the same thing with the roots, and it has a display name so we can differentiate the test runs. And then we're changing the test match, so it's not the default, now it's the no framework files. And then here's where we have our runner. And so we're pointing to the file which has our runner. And let's see, that is this index file. And create Jest runner exposes this create Jest runner function that you call with a path to the module that has your test runner. I kind of wish that it allowed you to just pass the module here, because then I wouldn't have to have so many files, but that is the way that it is. Then we have our node runner. And so this can be an async function that you export, but yeah, there are a couple things going on in here. So the simplest form, and what I had at first, was just like a simple require, And if this require threw an error, then I'd call this fail thing. I'd return a fail and have some metadata for that failure. Otherwise, you return a pass if there's no error thrown. But the problem with that is all of the files share a like the same process, and so I don't think that you're able to run things in parallel. And even if you are, I just noticed that like with the mocking things that I'm doing in this project, it kind of messed things up. Some modules would mess up other modules and stuff. And so I remembered that Jest exposes this Jest worker in Jest 22, which allows a really simple way to spawn a process, like a node module as a separate process. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So here we create a new worker and we specify the file that we want to have spawned as a separate process. So if we go to require module, it's pretty simple. It's just it's basically a proxy over to require. And then we set our start time, and then we await, because this is in another process, and so it's going to resolve a promise for us. And if this require returned anything, then I could say the value is whatever await, right? And this is working because we have an async function, and our test runner is given some options. One of those options is a test path. That's the only one that I need. There are a couple of options as well. But yeah, we have our test path, and I am saying, hey, wait for the worker to run its require function. It's just this little function. And this is an argument to that require function. So it passes that on to the worker in the other process, and then waits for that to finish. And if there's an error thrown, then it's going to throw the error, and that's how this failure happens. And otherwise, it's not going to throw an error, and we call the pass function. So anyway, it's actually pretty simple, and I feel like this should be published as a node module that like other people can use, because I could see some really cool applications for this that are more than just like a no framework testing thing, but maybe you have a bunch of scripts that you want to run in parallel, and but like you can't run all of the scripts in parallel. I actually have an example of that, of a case where I might want to do this. It's kentcdodds.com. So my website is actually like kind of not cool. It's just really, yeah, not cool. I haven't spent a lot of time. I even have a disclaimer for why it's not cool. But the way that it works is I have this generate, which has all these files that are responsible for generating each of the pages. So it's built with React, but it's all very static pages. There's nothing in here to indicate that it's built with React. And that's because I have these generate things in this render component to file thing. Kind of weird, and it was my first attempt at using RxJS, and that was when I found out or realized that RxJS is really hard, and I'm not smart enough for it. But yeah, I could definitely use this to run all of these things in parallel instead of using RxJS to generate all these things at the same time and stuff. So yeah, anyway, I think that's pretty cool. Go ahead and play around with this. This is open source. It's all just right here in my JS mocking fundamentals. You go to other and create node runner, and it starts here, and you can muck around with it and play with it. So yeah, if somebody said they showed up late, just scrub back on the video. This will all be recorded, and I'm just about finished. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all next time. Peace.